Hello friends, Pavan here. I hope you are also enjoying the ICC Cricket World Cup as I am enjoying. And today we will see the calculation of net run rate. This is very interesting. Actually, sometimes we don't know the background of that, so we think that it is difficult. Now see, here where the net run rate comes into play is when the teams are tied at points. Towards the end of the tournament, it will become important. But one of the team has a net run rate higher than the other. So that team will get selected. Especially at 4th, 5th, 6th position, this net run rate becomes very, very important. So the points are given on the basis of number of wins, whereas net run rate is calculated on the basis of number of runs scored in given number of overs. So we will see this calculation for 4 teams, and using this you will understand the process very easily. So when I am recording this video, one match of South Africa and Australia is going to happen today, and all other teams have played 2 matches each. So now friends, when we talk about net run rate, India's net run rate at this stage after winning 2 matches in 2 games is 1.500, whereas New Zealand's net run rate is equal to 1.958. So on what basis is this calculated? Let us understand. See, India played its first match against Australia. Now India won that match, as you all know, with great innings from KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. So how is this net run rate is calculated for India? So when we talk about India, India has scored 201 runs. Number of wickets do not matter here unless the team gets bowled out. India has scored 201 runs. So here I will write number of runs scored by that team. And for that, India has played how many overs in that innings? It is 41.2 overs. Now 41.2 we will consider for mathematical calculation purposes as 41.33, because 2 balls in an over means 2 by 6. 2 by 6 is equivalent to 0.33 of an over. So 41.33 overs. So if we only talk about one match, these are the calculations. And in the same match, obviously, runs scored by India is equal to runs given by Australia, whereas runs conceded by India. So here I will say runs scored by Australia in the given number of overs. Australia has scored how many runs? Australia has scored 199 runs here. And this is in 49.3 overs. Still I will take 50 overs for this calculation. The reason being that Australian team was bowled out. Australian team was completely all out in 49.3 overs. So irrespective of number of overs, we will take 50 full number of overs. Now the India's run rate for runs scored was 201 divided by 41.3333. So this is equal to 4.862, and Australia's run rate for this match was 199 divided by 15, which is equal to 3.98. So if there was only one match played, at the end of this match, India's net run rate would have been 4.862 plus and 3.98 minus. So how much is it? 4.862 minus 3.98. It is equivalent to 0.882. So which you can see here, 0.883. The difference is because of rounding off. If I take more number of digits here, it will come to an exact value. So if I take 201 upon 41.33333, this is 4.8629. So actually it is 4.863, and this run rate is 3.98. So the difference comes out to 4.863 minus 3.98, which is 0.883. So Team India's positive run rate at the end of first match was 0.883, which still is Australia's negative net run rate. But after this, India played another match. So this run rate we have just checked. Now India played another match against Afghanistan. So in which India had scored how many runs? India scored 273 runs. In how many overs? In exactly 35 overs. So now we will not calculate the run rate separately for this particular match, but now we will do the total of the number of runs scored by India and total of the number of overs played by India. So total number of runs that India has scored is 201 273, which is 474 runs. and total number of overs is 41.333 plus 35, so which is equal to 76.3333. These are the total number of runs scored by India. And now again I am talking about India only, and here instead of runs scored I will write runs conceded, number of runs given by that team. So India had given 199 runs against Australia in 50 overs. Also, India had given 273 runs, rather 272 runs against Australia in full 50 overs. So you can see that again individual run rate is not required. We will require the total. Total number of runs conceded by India is 199 plus 272, which takes the total to 471. In how many overs? In 100 overs. So now this we will calculate. So India's positive run rate means runs scored is 474 divided by 76.333333. So it is equal to 6.2096. And India's negative run rate here is 471 upon 100, to 4.71. Now the difference of these two figures will give us India's run rate. Difference of these two figures, 6.2096 minus 4.71. This is India's net run rate. So this figure plus and this figure minus. So you will get the value is equal to 1.4996. Rounded off to 3 digits, it will be 1.500. And that is exactly what India's run rate you can see here, 1.500. So I hope you understood this calculation. We don't take individual match calculation once the team has played more than one matches. We add up the number of runs scored and number of runs conceded. We add up the number of overs played or overs bowled, and then we calculate run rate for runs scored and run rate for the runs conceded, and then we take up the net value. Then next we will take up another example for say New Zealand. Now if we talk about team New Zealand, New Zealand has won both the matches with a very big margin. Therefore New Zealand is right now at the top of the table on the basis of points also, and within that their net run rate is also quite high. So how can we calculate this? Again, number of runs scored by New Zealand. How many runs New Zealand has scored? We will calculate it together for both their matches. It is 283 runs in their first match and 322 runs in their second match. They did not get bowled out in any of these matches. So number of overs played by New Zealand was 36.2 in their first match. So for calculation I will write it 36.3333 overs, because 2 balls in an over means 1/3 of an over. And in the next match they played completely 50 overs. So this will give us total positive run rate, and then we will compare this with number of runs conceded with respect to the number of overs that they have bowled. So as you can see, New Zealand has conceded how many runs? Only 282 runs in their first match and 223 runs in the second match. Now, how many overs shall we consider for this? We will consider 50 overs for the first match that they had bowled to England. And even though they have only bowled 46.3 overs to Netherlands, but we will take 50 overs in entirety because the Netherlands teams got bowled out, got all out in that match. So we will take 50 overs there. Now, calculation for New Zealand. Total number of runs scored by them, 283 plus 322 is equal to 605. And number of overs played by them for those many runs is 86.333. So I will do 605 divide by 86.33333. So this figure comes to 7.0077. Okay, I am writing it to 4 digits. And here next if we calculate number of runs conceded, it is 282 plus 223, that is 505, which we will divide by 100. So it is equal to 5.05. So New Zealand's net run rate should be equal to the difference between 7.0077 and 5.05. So if we see, this is equal to 1.9577, which can be rounded off to 1.958 if you want to represent only up to 3 digits. So if you observe, See, even here the net run rate is mentioned as 1.958. This is how it is calculated. Now the more further matches which New Zealand will play will affect their net run rate, because again we will take cumulative total of the runs scored for any of these teams, cumulative total of the overs bowled, and for the overs played for batting and overs bowled while they were bowling. Now we will do the similar calculation for England as well. England has played two matches, won one of their matches and lost another match. So if you talk about England, they have a net positive run rate of 0.553. So they have points only two in the points table because they won only one match. But points matter first, net run rate comes second. Now for calculation of net run rate, points do not matter. So here if we calculate England's score, England's net run rate, so we will have to see the number of runs scored by England. The number of runs scored by England in both of their matches is equal to, individually if you see, 364 runs in their first match. That was, rather I should take up, this was their first match. So 282 in their first match and 364 in their second match, which we will compare with the number of overs that they had played to score those many runs. So in their first match against New Zealand, they had taken up full 50 overs, and in their second match also they played full 50 overs. So for them, the positive calculation of net run rate during their batting is easy to calculate. So here we will do 282 plus 364. Total number of runs scored by England is 646 divided by 100. It is equal to 6.46. We will now compare this with number of runs conceded by England and based on the number of overs that they have bowled. So England has conceded 283 runs in their first match against New Zealand, and number of overs we will take up as 36.3333 overs, because it is 36 overs and 2 balls. Whereas when they were bowling to Bangladesh, they had conceded only 227 runs, but 48.2 overs will not be taken as 48.2 because they bowled out the Bangladesh team. So it will be taken as 50 overs here. So now using this, we will calculate the total number of runs scored by or conceded by England. 283 plus 227, it is equal to 510, and number of overs bowled for that is 86.333. Even though actual number of overs is slightly less, but if they have bowled out the other team, they get the credit of 50 overs here. So now we will calculate this 646 upon 100. We have already calculated the positive side of their run rate. 510 divided by 86.33333. This is the value to be subtracted. So this is 5.9073. So if we add them up, it comes to, means this is positive and this is negative. So the difference of these two is 0.55266, can be rounded off to 0.553, which is a positive value. So this is England's run rate here, as you can see, plus 0.553. So today, as I am recording this video, Australia and South Africa's match is going to start. After this match, Australia's and South Africa's net run rate is definitely going to change, and it will not change in the same ratio because the cumulative total is done and then it is considered for the purpose of calculation. Likewise, you can calculate and check for other couple of teams as well before India-Pakistan match, so that you are ready with all these calculations. I hope you enjoyed this calculation. I am sure many of you did not know it from earlier. Do let me know if this was relevant for you. Thank you, friends.